So Mary, this is the front part of the landscaping here, and I broke it up deliberately into two different types of planting areas because there's full sun in this section in front of us, and back behind us a little more shade back here. So I went with some astilbes and some hostas and some plants that can tolerate some of the light conditions that are back here. And part of what the solution was for this project was to put a planting area in front of the deck to soften the underside of the deck view. So we're kind of screening the fencing under there and the posts that support it, so just to soften the view a little bit.
When you use the shade plants, I would bet that that maybe ties in then to the shade area behind.
It does, yep, that was part of it. So when I saw this site, this was in probably April that I saw things, so there was really nothing growing. But then Roger and Joan explained to me that this was a shade garden back here, and I could see from the trees, obviously, that it was a shady area, so that helped to determine what I would use for plant material.
Then what is this one here?
So this is a hydrangea. It's a paniculata type. It's called Bobo hydrangea. I picked that because it stays small. I believe it's a newer variety, and it only gets to about 3.5 feet tall. So it'll be a little bit taller than the deck height, but that'll be fine. It's just going to be a nice look, a nice way to anchor the two planting areas. I have one here and then one closer to the steps over there as well. So it's just a nice endpoints for the plantings.
And then what are the ones that are just starting to flower up here?
So these are little Princess spireas. I use these because they're easy to grow, easy to maintain. They are kind of common, but it's a nice plant, nice soft pink flower, a decent fall color, and they'll grow to be just about deck height. And this group will eventually grow together, so it'll offer that screening of the underside of the deck.
And looks like you've got some things that are starting to flower here too.
Right, yeah, so what I like to do is incorporate some perennials in my plantings just for extra flower color. So I've got two groupings of white cone flowers, and then I have a grouping of Autumn Joy sedum here. This will be a nice full planting in probably 2 or 3 seasons with lots of flowers come midsummer.
Looks like you've got an evergreen over there too.
Right. Yeah, so that's a dwarf Norway spruce. That's one of my favorite plants to use because it stays relatively small. It's a nice mounded evergreen, maybe gets 4 feet wide and about 2.5 to 3 feet tall. Very tough plant. Nice feature to add, I think, to add some evergreen color.
What is the rock there for?
So Roger has a little catch basin there for water that comes out of his gutter downspout there. So part of the problem they had initially was that there's so much water coming out that it was spattering everywhere and making a mess of the soil. So I thought, well, this would be a nice feature to have, is have that river rock and then have it as a sort of a dry creek bed just to kind of define that area. It won't necessarily work as a creek bed, but it's a nice, interesting element in the landscape, I think, and it helps to kind of break up the flow of the landscaping here a little bit, so it's not just all plantings and mulch, to have a little bit of a focal point in there.
And then it almost looks like you put in a walkway there.
We did. Flagstone is called Chilton Flagstone. It's a hard limestone that we use for a lot of pathways and a lot of walkways, and I just thought that would be nice to have as a way to get through the landscape instead of having to walk all the way around to the almost end of the driveway or step through the landscaping. I find that to be a nice feature to have.
So now here we come to some of the meat of the issue. How much do you water after the planting?
Right, so initially, our guys will water everything before we leave, and what I would recommend to Roger is to water this probably in another 2 days, just because it's such light soil here. Everything's going to drain fast. So the shrubs will probably get soaked for maybe 5 minutes apiece. The perennials maybe a minute or two, just to moisten the soil around each plant and to moisten the root ball. The tree that we planted, that needs a little more water, probably about 15 minutes of water every 3 or 4 days.
So when you water, do you lay a hose there and let it run in, or can you use just a regular soaker hose? Or
You can do either way. I think a lot of people, what they end up doing is just taking a hose and just holding the water on the plant for a few minutes and then kind of walking back and forth to get good coverage on a plant. But you can use the black soaker hoses that weep water. That's a nice, efficient way to put water on plants, and it's easy. You just hook the hose up and let it run for 45 minutes to an hour.
should they fertilize at all this fall or not?
No, I wouldn't say you need to fertilize this fall, but next spring they could start, mid-May putting down a slow release fertilizer, a granular fertilizer, and then maybe some liquid fertilizer as an added fertilizer every 3 weeks or so. That helps.
I noticed there aren't tags on the plants, but sometimes I've seen jobs where there's tags left on the plants. Should you leave them on so you know what's there, or should you pull those tags off?
Well, we generally like to pull it off because it looks neater in the landscape to have all the tags on. The landscape plan will have all the plants labeled and listed. so that if the homeowner they can just refer to the plan and pick out what plant is maybe they have a question about or has not survived, which sometimes happens.
Do they have to do anything special for fall to prepare the plants to overwinter?
The only ones that would need a little extra care would be some of the evergreens. So the dwarf Norway spruce, and then behind us we have a globe blue spruce. They need a little extra water before winter, just because they store that water in their needles and they lose that moisture throughout the winter. So if they get a little extra water, that helps them survive the winter. I'd say late September is when I start to do heavier watering for evergreens. It doesn't have to be every day, but if it's just more frequent, say 3 or 4 days, but on a regular basis to make sure it's maintained going into, say, the end of October.
Then what do you do next year? Do you recommend anything for weed control on top of the mulch, or do you have to add more mulch?
Typically, you don't have to add more mulch. You might have some spots that are a little thin where you could just top dress a few spots. Weed control, Preen is a good product to use. Also, corn gluten meal you can put on to help prevent weed seeds from germinating that might blow into the mulched areas. So those are 2 good products to use. Add a few boulders in here just for visual interest and sort of as a ending point for edging. So behind us in the shady area, because Roger and Joan have a shade garden and they have a path that kind of cuts through there, I needed to have a good ending point for the edging that we use. So I use boulders as sort of a feature, but also as a practical means, as an end point. These 2 boulders are just for visual interest. You know, everything's going to die back come fall, and boulders just add a nice extra texture to the landscape. And then we have 2 other shrubs that we used. They're called Maimone Weigela. I like those because they have variegated foliage. The foliage has a little more interest than just green and white. It has some purple tinges to it as well, and then nice pink flowers in June. So the Maimone will get maybe 15 to 18 inches tall and maybe 2 to 2.5 feet wide. So it's a relatively small plant. So what I've done is try to create a little bit of a layered look to the landscaping where there's some taller stuff behind and a little bit shorter material in front.
I think that Roger and Joan are going to really enjoy the landscape job that you've done. I think it's great, and thank you so much for letting us come out and see it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.